Hello, everyone. This is Robb Fahrion again with the Sage Executive Podcast, where top executives share their advice. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because the wise speak in few words. I'm really excited about today's guest. So we're going to jump right into our rapid fire questions. Question number 1. In a few sentences, would you mind telling our audience who you are and what it is you do?
Oh, sure, Rob. My name is Nicole Martin. I'm the Chief Empowerment Officer of HRBoost. We're based out of Chicagoland. And what do? We build HR from scratch. We believe in strategic HR day one, employee one, and we ultimately meet our clients at their pace and their budget.
I love that. Chief Empowerment Officer, obviously that's unique. Can you tell me a little bit about how that role came about, or why the decision to go with that unique title?
You know, I consider myself the accidental entrepreneur, Rob. I didn't mean to build a business. And one day, it's a surreal experience when you build a virtual business, which I have a virtual team. Sure. And then you have like this all hands on deck meeting someday. And this was years ago. I've been in business 10 years now. But after the last recession, by the way, corner not to anyone thinking of jumping ship. Okay, so anyway, you get out there, right, Rob? And I got them in the same room. And all of a sudden, it felt really real. Like, oh my gosh, all of you work with me, for me. And I thought, this is craziness. So I sat down and I was like, why do you work here? And I took notes. Why are they on? Why were they working for me? These are people I respected, people in my industry, you know. And all of a sudden, it came to be, no, I was always uncomfortable with that CEO title or this president title because we're team, right? So I came back and I realized, oh, I built their playground for them, their intellectual playground, and this is my intellectual playground. And all of a sudden, I realized I've empowered them, and I only want to continue to do that. And it became very clear at that day that I am the Chief Empowerment Officer. It's my job to continually empower these people to do their joy and purpose through their work, which is what I'm all about. And it's just stuck. And I get comments and compliments actually on it a lot. So
I love it. Well, I think it's something too that I can totally relate with, because even myself, like, I try and make it an emphasis, even if it's just like an all channel message on Slack, just saying, hey, if there's anything I can help with, but appreciate you all so much, like just the growth we see week over week. Right. And yeah, you're right. That empowerment, that's great. I love the idea too of sitting down, taking notes, asking those questions of why.
Oh yeah. Cause you'd be surprised. You think you know why people work for you?
Right.
You have no idea.
Right.
You should ask.
That's great. That's great. I think that kind of leads a great segue to question number 2. What would you say is the best part about being the leader of your organization?
That's so easy. I think the best part about being a leader is, first of all, recognizing that all of us are leaders from wherever we stand. Okay. Not just because I took the risk to own the business. We're all leaders. And so the best thing about being a leader from wherever you stand is that you get to choose how you're going to think, what you're going to think, and then you also get to choose what you're going to say, and then what you're going to do. And once you realize that that's a personal choice that no one takes away from you ever, unless you decide to change how you think, that's empowering to everybody. And so I think that's the best thing about being a leader, and realizing that you're a leader and not waiting for somebody to tell you that you're a leader. Right.
I love that. Yeah. A team of 10 leaders is going to be a lot more effective than just 1 and 9 followers. Obviously, we always hear that. Yeah. Cool.
I don't even use the word follower. To me, it's shared leadership, right?
Right.
We build this together.
Yeah. And that leads right into that chief empowerment, right? Like if you have someone that is a leader and, hey, the onus to get the work done or take hold and move forward with what you think is the best way to go is always going to help propel that business forward. That's great.
Absolutely.
So question number 3. So a lot of times we hear from other executives, business development, business growth, right? And it's becoming such a challenge, and there's so many competitors and noise, both online and offline. So I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on new business development, how you get new clients, acquisition of new clients, and what you have to say about that.
Absolutely. I have big competition in my industry. I'm in the HR outsourcing space. I mean, it's like a $28 billion industry, and the companies that I compete with, we're the PEO alternative at HRBoost. Okay. So the companies I'm competing with are PEOs, and we actually unpack that and bring it back in-house and come with a shared services model. So when you think about that, how do I get those clients? I'm competing with somebody that pays 95 cents per click.
Right.
I can't afford that. Right. So I'm proud to say that we've built my business. Every client that's come to me has come to me from someone I know. It's been very word of mouth, very referral based. And typically by the time I get to the room, that we're having that, meet and greet conversation, and they're talking about what do I do and how can I help them.
Right.
It's so warm because ultimately they've been looking for us and they just didn't know we existed.
Yeah.
And so that's when it's a privilege where people who know you know enough about you and your style and your relationship style, not your service, but who are you? Do I trust you? And I really think that that's something I'm proud of. I can say that no one's come to my business off of an ad.
Right. I love that. Yeah. People doing business with people. Right. And obviously we're in the marketing and advertising game, but we always go back to, like we were talking about LinkedIn before we got on here. Right. And the power of a personalized LinkedIn profile, that personal outreach, or just, picking up the phone and calling somebody, even that's kind of a lost art, it seems like nowadays. So, okay.
Oh my gosh. I could tell you something so funny. So COVID happens, right? And the first thing you should be calling all your clients. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to call all my clients. and truly, I started doing it.
Right.
I got to B. I did it alphabetically.
Sure.
B. March is when COVID kind of happened. That was like middle of May by the time I got to B. So that's how sad that's how sad it is that you may want to even call every single one of them, but do you have the capacity to do that?
Right.
And that hurts because I really do believe all of us need to be picking up the phone and calling people and having real conversations. It's like what I'm doing with you, right?
Yeah. Lost art.
Yeah.
A lost art.
Definitely.
Question number 4 now. So what piece of sage advice, and it can be any type of advice, the best advice you've ever heard or the best advice you have, would you give to other executives like yourself?
Yeah. That comes to me pretty quickly too, because I have a favorite quote.
Okay.
And I read it. This is so funny. I read it when I was like 10 years old, out of a Reader's Digest. If anybody, I'm going to date myself now. Anybody ever heard of Reader's Digest? And it was an anonymous quote. And I've learned throughout life that I think of it constantly. You kind of sometimes have a grounding moment or grounding thought. It could be a prayer. It can be anything. But for me, it's been this quote. And I can literally be in chaos or HR triage or, just family dynamic of your kids screaming and you're working in the other room, whatever it is.
Right.
And I literally will just say to myself, presence is more important than just being present. And for me, it's that word presence. It's what it means to me. It's how I think of myself. Did I really bring not only my mind and my physical being to like this meeting right now, but did I really bring my heart? Did I really show up? And I think if you can do that moment to moment throughout your day, whether it be with your family, your friends, or your work, if you honor that quote, presence is more important than just being present, then you will have excelled. Yeah. And even if you come to a moment where you think you've dropped the ball, and we have to be forgiving with ourselves because sometimes we can get super just on auto. I think it's really a nice forgiving thing to say, I'm going to work on presence today.
Yeah. No doubt. So knowing just like how busy I'm sure you are, right? And what your schedule looks like, how do you keep those energy levels up, right? And because you're right. You could show up to a meeting and sit there and be there and you were there, but there's a whole another being presence, but obviously that's a lot of energy and staying top of mind. So do you have any tips or tricks to really keep those energy levels, that engagement up for you?
Well, and I think that I'm pretty high energy by nature. I freak people out in the elevator. I'm like that person. Hi, I'm that person. So I think that for me, it's more of coming to a place of peace and being okay and just really being where somebody feels you versus hears you.
Right.
And I think as long as you come with presence, if you really believe that you have to find something that means something to your heart, to you, that silences you and grounds you. And for me, I literally can just say that quote to myself, and I can bring myself back to you. Because sometimes a lot of people think they'll have a million things on their to-do list. They may be looking at their watch. They're distracted. I mean, it's distractions. Distraction is the enemy of presence right now. And there's a lot of distractions. No doubt. I think just bringing yourself to a place where as long as I'm present with you, then like I said, I'm feeling holistically calm and I'm okay. And I get energy from people. Yeah. So extroverts typically do that. And I think Zoom is just not cutting it for people, right? So I take that extra time to make sure that I know who I'm talking to or that who are you and how do you live and get a true vibe of, just where that person's coming from. Sure. And I don't think you should come with business first right now at all. Right. It's really got to be with, I see you and you matter.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, even these podcasts, like these are one of my favorite things because I silence my phone, put it on airplane mode, turn off the Slack notifications and everything else, because obviously to host a show, right, you got to be present here, but it's calming and it's nice. And it's a great way to be present, like you're talking about. So
I'm impressed. Airplane mode. I don't go on airplane mode. I'm not in airplane mode right now, Rob, but
all right, don't look at that phone though.
I'm feeling a lot of love now. Thank you.
Okay, we're doing great. Question number 5. So obviously we're trying to fill the pipeline for new content and new guests on our show. So what other top executives like yourself would you like to acknowledge as a leader in their space and someone that you think would be a great guest on our show and provide a lot of value for our viewers?
I know a lot of different people that I really respect, but I think I'll go with a couple women that come to mind right now because
yes, that would be that we are. Yes, love that.
Yeah. There's a couple of women that I really respect, and I think right now there's something happening in the environment where we're still talking about active diversity and just really a heartfelt conversation. And a lot of people either they don't feel comfortable with that, they want to do it, but they don't know where to begin.
Right.
And they want to recognize different things that are happening. So I would recommend Jackie Camacho Ruiz. She runs JJR Marketing here out of Chicago. She's got this huge foundation for Latinas, and she's a publisher and a PR company.
Great.
And I just think that she's actually bridging something on a global level. And when I think of even your company, Flying V, her whole logo, I mean, literally logo, banner, trade, everything. She's the Pilotina. So you should totally give a shout out to her. Definitely. And if you just follow her for one day, you'll see why.
Okay.
And then there's another woman that I really respect, who I know personally as well, who is really trying to do a lot to bridge, over 175 different languages from different cultures in the countries, and really bring that in a personal level to, typically she was in the healthcare world where it's like the interpreter at the hospitals, but now she's really bringing it to not only interpretation, but transcription in all those languages so that we can bring people together. And it's more of that vibe of what I was just talking about, which is like, I see you.
Right.
And I understand you as a different layer of challenge that we all have right now.
Right.
So Elizabeth Colon, she runs Metaphrosis here out of Chicago, and she's really she's going in this year in Chicago. I'm going to be the president of NAWBO, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. And she's just got a great track record of really speaking from the heart and appreciating diversity from a standpoint of that tapestry of the world. And I just think both those women right now, they're going to continue to blaze a trail. And I think I respect both of them for what they're doing right now. And I know that they're both working from the heart.
That's amazing. Yeah, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll definitely have to look up both.
You just tell them Nicole Martin sent you and you'll get in.
I will. Okay, perfect. So last question to wrap up. Like I said, you've done amazing. I knew you would. A fun question for us here. And I always love, you never know what answer you're going to get, but after a win, and any win, whether it's personal, business related, whatever it may be, how do you like to celebrate? What do you maybe like to do to let loose or let your hair down, whatever that might be?
Yeah, right. So I'm a country girl in disguise, believe it or not. So how I let my hair down is different than how I celebrate. We'll say that. But I think when I celebrate, when I feel like I've won something, I definitely like to think that I share the joy. So immediately, if it was my own celebration, I take it to my family, my inner circle, maybe my kids, my husband, my friends. But if I had like a workplace celebration, I immediately take it to the team, because there's nothing that I'm celebrating within the business that isn't team and team celebration. And so sometimes it's as simple as just giving that shout out. Sure. Other times it's simple as expressing gratitude. I think living in gratitude is really important. But I can tell you that if I was really celebrating it, you almost let go, right? You kind of can feel a feeling of elation and letting go. And when you really have something huge to celebrate, then I would say you've gotten to that great plane where you're letting go a little bit. Right. And trusting and kind of maybe even going back to where you let your hair down.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. How can people find you, find more about your business online?
Thank you. My business is HRBoost, so just HRBoost.com. And I have a lot of different things that I do on my own that are passion projects, and you can check those out at NicoleMartin.live.
Awesome. We'll be sure to share those links once we get everything dialed in and posted on the website and distributed. Thanks again, Nicole, and everyone else. This is Robb Fahrion with the Sage Executive Podcast. For more insights and to check out more episodes of the Sage Executive Podcast, visit us at flyingvgroup.com/podcast. Thanks so much, Nicole, and have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, enjoy the weekend, my friend. Happy Friday.
Thank you.